Can you tell me your name, please, and your few details about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ramesh Pranesh. I am from social work background. I did masters in social work from Delhi University in 1983. Then I was in the Institute of Economic Growth. I worked as a research analyst. Then I shifted to Ranchi. I was one of the faculty members in Tribal Welfare Research Institute. I worked around 5 years. Then I came back to Delhi because I found a bit difficult to work in a government setup because most of the things were routinized. So I was of an independent nature. I began as a freelance journalist when I was in Delhi. So I came back to Delhi and since my background was social work, so I dedicated myself to
मैं यहाँ टुकड़ों में जी रहा हूँ, मैं यहाँ टुकड़ों में जी रहा हूँ, तू कहीं टुकड़ों में जी रही है।
our main focus
अजनबी तू भी कभी आवाज दे कहीं से, अजनबी तू भी कभी
So, which areas of India do you operate?
we cover almost all states
All states.
because nomadic tribes are everywhere. They keep moving in search of better alternative of livelihood. So basically, we are fighting for their two rights because they have been marginalized for a very long time since the British rule period here. So here are various
रोज रोज रेशम सी हवा आते जाते कहती है बता, रेशम सी हवा कहती है
This is a
बता,
very interesting thing since
वो
the
जो
British rule.
दूध धुली
Right now,
मासूम
most
कलियों
of us in
है
cities
कहाँ
live
कहाँ
not even knowing on an everyday basis
वो
or on a monthly basis, on a
रोशनी
yearly basis.
कहाँ
We don't even know tribes in
वो
India exist.
जान
We have the
से
knowledge,
कहाँ
but we do not acknowledge. It's not part of our
मैं
consciousness.
अधूरा तू
Because it's almost as if they're in a parallel society, they're in a parallel economy, they're in a parallel livelihood. For all you know, they could be on a parallel planet,
कभी
not even on Earth, let alone India. What do you think before the British rule? They were a part of the society, though they were isolated. Do you think
मैं
there was an
यहाँ
ecosystem?
टुकड़ों में जी रहा हूँ, मैं यहाँ टुकड़ों में जी रहा हूँ, तू कहीं टुकड़ों में जी रही है। अजनबी तू भी कभी आवाज दे कहीं
led to
से।
their increased exploitation. But this is true that they have been living in their own way. They had their own traditions, their own lifestyles. So that has been, the main feature of tribal society. But I was talking about nomadic tribes. I'm not talking about tribes who are settled. Because most of us know about settled tribes like Munda, Santhal, Khalsa,
है लेकिन तेरी
Naga.
मुस्कुराहट है, चेहरा कहीं
I'm talking about
नहीं
those
है
people
पर तेरी
who never settled down.
आहटें हैं,
They keep
तू
moving.
है कहाँ कहाँ
These are the people,
है,
who are
तेरा
most
निशान
exploited.
कहाँ है,
They have been marginalized.
मेरा जहाँ
They have been
कहाँ
stigmatized.
मैं अधूरा
tribes
तू अधूरी
were not
जी
stigmatized.
रही है।
In 1817,
अजनबी
British
तू
government
भी कभी
they notified around 150 tribes, 150
अजनबी
nomadic tribes
तू भी
as
कभी
criminal tribes.
आवाज दे कहीं से।
They were branded as
मैं
criminals.
यहाँ टुकड़ों में जी रहा हूँ,
denotified them.
आवाज दे
So they are also known as denotified tribes.
अजनबी
These are the people, you know, who constitute the most vulnerable and exploited sections
of
of
Indian
Indian
society
society.
or outside Indian society.
Yes, you can say that.
So tell me this, you're one of the few people you live in Delhi, but you've seen beyond the society, outside the society, those who exist outside the society also. These nomadic tribes and all live, it's a hypothesis, tell me if I'm right or wrong, please Hari. They live in far more harmony with the land, the nature and everything, compared to the consuming urban societies. What do you see are the learnings that urban societies can learn from them, can take from them?
This is very, very important, you know. In fact, we can learn a lot from them. But unfortunately, our society is stratified. It is divided among various groups. Some of the people, you know, who are very rich in culture, they are considered to be backward because they are economically backward. So, you know, the mainstream society, you know, doesn't allow these people to get mixed, with them. So, as you rightly said, I mean, there are many things which we can learn from these people. And these people have never harmed, ecology, the nature. Nature has always been a part of their day-to-day living. They lived very near to forest area. But unfortunately, people living in urban areas and metropolitan cities, they consider natural resources as capital. And they have exploited our natural resources, in a very unscientific way. And we can see its consequences all around us. We are facing the water crisis. Even the air has been very adversely polluted. So
their water resources are diverted.
Yes.
What can we learn in terms of living from them? How to live? What are the lessons? सीख क्या मिल सकती है उनसे हमें?
In fact, they don't believe in hoarding.
Okay.
They always acquire, whatever is required for their day-to-day life. But people living in urban areas have grown very greedy. They exploit each other. They can do anything in order to earn easy money.
Okay.
So our lifestyle has become such, where we think only in terms of each other's exploitation. We never learn to live in harmony.
Sir, tell me this. As an urbanite, I was from rural India, but as an urbanite, when we read, all tribes, all humanity started as nomadic tribes. Because agriculture came much later. I think animal husbandry was the first form of agriculture in a way. Before that, we always used to roam around. Somewhere the human need and intelligence to not be dependent on nature, not be dependent on food availability or not, led to hoarding or stock keeping, which is where civilization started. Civilization entirely started because of man's need to average the odds of finding food. So how is it that these people have managed to resist where the rest of people have gone ahead and wanted to cut down the odds? And in your opinion, is stockpiling and cutting down the odds to survive better? Is it wrong?
In fact, culture is the source of our livelihood, is the source of our survival. But unfortunately, in today's living, we are totally cut off from culture.
Culture is divorced from economics.
Yes, we don't attach any importance to cultural traditions.
What do you mean by cultural
So
tradition?
when we are outrooted, everything comes to a naught. So we need to preserve our culture.
What do you mean by culture?
Culture is, the way of living together. It is a kind of resource, which gives us, an instinctive knowledge, instinctive wisdom. We cannot learn only through books. Thousands years of experience, has been added to our,
Everyday wisdom.
yes, intelligence and wisdom.
So tell me this. A very innocent, eager student of class 8, class 7 is using a lot of books, notebooks to study eagerly. They don't even know where the book is coming from and what the book is doing. Do you think this consciousness is needed in the society?
Certainly. In fact, books are not everything. You rightly said that it gives us insight, but nothing can be alternative of one-to-one interaction. Like people living in urban areas know very little about other cultures. So there is a need to have more and more interaction. Then only there is a scope
For
to
better living.
understand each other. Otherwise there is communication gap. People have very wrong notions about other people's living.
Would you accuse urban India of mindless consumption? For example, again, not with malice, but with ignorance. Ignorance is also a crime sometimes. Again, I go back to the example. 8th class student might be filling up notebooks after notebooks without knowing that notebooks are coming from trees are coming from deforestation. It means every time you are learning maths, science or physics or chemistry or history, you are actually robbing somebody of their livelihood. Do you hence accuse urban India of excessive consumption?
In fact, we need to grow up. Change is the only constant. In fact, what British Empire left in India, we are simply following it blindly. Otherwise, we had a very rich culture, very rich cultural tradition, which was the strength of our society. So we need to teach children that rather than following consumerism, which the Western societies are suffering from, we are following West, like anything. We don't feel proud of our own history, our own background. That's why, we are becoming simply the follower. So that is the only way. We should get to our own roots.
Understand them better.
Yes, and inherent wisdom. Intelligence is important. Getting to know about outside world is important. But whatever we have, we should also try to preserve that.
Tell me this, sir. There are a lot of things that urban India consumes or small town India also consumes, which directly affects the life of the tribals. Do you think there are some things like, for example, corporate governance can be dictated in such a manner that a company which deals in paper and books should also have a responsibility of planting back trees? because this consumption is not suddenly going to stop. Company which is digging iron, ore, and all of that should also replenish in some way those areas again. Do you see a role for better corporate responsibility towards the outside the society people?
In fact, the concept of CSR is very new in India. People think that CSR is charity. That is not the charity, in fact. In fact, the whole premise of corporate is based on earning profit. Earning profit should not be the sole motive of corporate initiative, because ultimately the society should also benefit from it. So it is not about planting more and more trees and saving our environment. Of course, that is important. But we should also think that besides earning profit, how can we contribute to the well-being and a natural growth of people living around the corporate house, the factory, the company, because ultimately the human being should be the center of change and growth. We may have 8.5% GDP growth, but if there is no social equity, if there is no equal distribution of wealth, then certainly a large section of society will always remain excluded. We need to have an inclusive growth. Today, we get to know that India has so many millionaires and billionaires. But that's not enough. What is far more important is, how many people in India are able to get themselves below, the vicious circle of poverty. People are still dying of hunger in rural areas. You see the case of Maharashtra. Farmers are committing suicide. And other people, don't consider their lives, worthy of living. So, we need to work towards that.
Tell me this, what do these nomadic tribes do? If you had to describe a particular nomadic tribe, what are the geographic areas that they go through and what do they do? How do they live off the land?
Earlier, in fact, they had their own sources of livelihood.
Like?
They were they were involved in handicrafts. They survived on a forest artifacts or various produce of
The
forest area. But when, in the name of modernity, people from other areas, started getting into these areas.
Of producing artifacts?
Yes, and producing artifacts and other things with the help of machines. The demand for things produced by these people started reduced. So naturally their traditional source of livelihood, got destabilized.
So what do they do now?
This is very unfortunate that many of these people, have got into petty crimes. But they have been pushed into that.
Economically, society is
Yes.
responsible for it.
Yes. And on their own, they were not willing to do all this.
Tell me this, sir. Suppose there was a brand which was launched, because there is a trend in urban India now, Fab India, there is that. There is a need on the youngsters and the upwardly mobile and more educated to find the roots in their own way with a touch of modernity. if there was a brand which was all about tribal, do you think it would help their economies?
Certainly it will help. Certainly it will help. Because there is always a point of stagnation of consumerism.
Yes.
In urban areas, we have reached that state. Now all big companies, including multinationals, have realized that they have to reach out to rural segment.
Yes.
Rural segment and those sections which have not used these products in the same way as we all have been using. So in order to reach our products to these people, we have to adopt new strategy, new marketing strategy. And this marketing strategy should not be based on exploitation.
It's about mutual profit.
Yes, even the margin of profit should be very, very reasonable. When it is reasonable and affordable, certainly, the outreach of our product will be more.
Yes.
Yes. So we need to work towards that.
Now, interesting that you have said. For now, I'll make this the last question because your time. If you're coming back in the evening, I'd like to talk to you again. There's a very weird situation that's going on. Small town and rural India is aspiring more for Western products because they've been deprived of it. As a strategist, if I come and try and sell tribal products in semi-urban and rural India, I actually don't think there's a market for it. Because सेमी-अर्बन एंड रूरल इंडिया में एक अभी भी वेस्टर्नाइज्ड प्रोडक्ट्स की भूख है जो मिटी नहीं है. लाइक यू राइटली सेड, अर्बन इंडिया में काफ़ी हद तक वो मिट चुकी है या एटलीस्ट बैलेंस होने का चांस है.